Welcome back everyone to episode 4 of Strategy and Stratagems, Rise of the Tomb Kings DLC of Warhammer Total War 2, or Total War Warhammer 2. Last episode we ended on a tense note as the Slan Mage Priest of the Sentinels of Zeti moved down from the north into the Golden Colossus and has now fortified their position there. Preventing us from a swift consolidation of the Copper Desert, forcing us to retreat back and take a raiding stance in the Golden Colossus to try to force Bokui out of the Golden Colossus to allow the High Elves to pressure from the west and drive the Lizardmen back to their capital. I've used our Tomb Prince, Prince Sachom, to assault the army of the Lizardmen to deal at least a little bit of damage and maybe to tease Bokui out to come and attack us out in the desert where we have the advantage. However, my consideration is that if Bokui presses forward, we shall retreat back towards the Dust Gate and wait for reinforcements, as in one turn the settlement at the Dust Gate will be improved, unlocking a building slot where we will build the quicksand swamp, giving us access to our cavalry forces that will give us that extra mobility against the Lizardmen forces of the Sentinels of Zeti. So we shall move on to turn 9 and see what the lizard men do from the Golden Colossus. Will they remain seated in their fortified position, or will they advance? Teclis is deciding to press in from the west. Excellent. And what will the Sentinels of Zeti do? The Sentinels of Zeti chose to remain in their position. Mission issued from Priest Nerotep. Search any ruined settlement for treasure. Current total 0 to 1. Mistress, my spies inform me that these jungle ruins could hold relics lost to Nehekara and even potentially leads to end the spawn of Lamia. Such ruins should be searched, my queen. Also, nothing that forces us to reconsider our strategy, as settlements like Kayaks and the southern provinces of Lustria have plenty of ruins with plenty of Skaven holding treasure, so that we will inevitably fulfill this secondary objective. Let us see. We now have the ability to construct the quicksand swamps, which is exactly what we will do to give us access to our cavalry forces. For the time being, we will continue to raid, giving time for Teclis to march in from the west and hopefully distract Bokui to march back up north, so that we may march in from the south and take over the Golden Colossus. If time allows, we will pull back to the Dust Gate with High Queen Khalida and recruit new forces. We'll recruit our cavalry forces from the Dust Gate. But as it is, we shall stand and raid and tease out Bokui into an engagement, pulling him further south from their capital. At the moment, I will use my Tomb Prince to rejoin Khalida and train the skeleton armies of the Court of Liberus. And for now, we're again at a tense standoff, and we shall see what happens in the next turn. Teclis continues to pressure the Sentinels of Zeti from the west, which is exactly what we wanted. This will force Bokui to march north unless they are willing to lose their capital settlement to our... But so far, Bokui remains steadfast. Interesting. Okay. Furthermore, a new mission has been issued from Priest Nerutep. The Serpent is sated. Sign a non-aggression pact with the following faction, Bloodhall Coven. Not all solutions can be solved with your gauntlet, my queen. We must look to Asaf's wisdom. Offer other rivals pacts of non-aggression. We can always strike at them later if we need to. This is a distracting mission. Distracting consideration for our strategy, unfortunately. But I think since we don't want enemies to our north, we should seek a non-aggression pact with the Bloodhall Coven, because it's basically free money and free canopic jars simply for signing a non-aggression pact. However, the Dark Elves might be resistant to our requests, but we shall see what they have to say.
Cruel and deadly. I will drink fine elven wine from your bones. No.
Of course, we won't pressure the High Elves too much because, first of all, the Lizard Men and the High Elves act as a buffer towards any incursions from the Dark Elves of Bloodhall Coven. So, in this case, this mission is simply a distraction, and we won't spend too much time attempting to sign in a non-aggression pact. It's not something that we're looking for. Furthermore, we might have to pull back relatively soon into the Duskgate to prevent any rebellions from happening, or prevent it, or allowing a rebellion to occur and then defeating them in the field. So far, we'll maintain our stance of raiding and train our forces and keep Bokui. We'll keep Bokui in the Golden Colossus, allowing Teclis to besiege the Sentinels of Zeti and take it over. Maybe that will force Bokui out to march back north. That's what we're hoping, at least. Because I do not want to fight the Lizard Men out in the open field when we do not have the advantage. Let's see, do we construct the Regnant Catacombs? Let's see, the construction of the mausoleum requires 3,200 gold. In about 6 turns we'll have the necessary money to construct the mausoleum, which coincides with our population growing to 2 points. So I think we'll hold off, and supposing that this course of action does not change, we just simply stay in raid, we will allow the money to accumulate, and then we'll construct the mausoleum. Furthermore, the Second Dynasty will be researched relatively soon, and we'll be able to recruit a new lord for our campaigns, which will increase the forces that are available to us, in which case then we can force our way into the Golden Colossus with sheer numbers. However, I am seeking to avoid that because we need momentum. So if Bokui marches back up north, then we can hop in and take over the Golden Colossus right from under their froggy feet. But let us not over-strategize in this case, because this requires observation of what happens. So let's move on to the next turn. As we can see, the Sentinels of Zeti is now besieged by the Order of Lore Masters headed by Teclis, and so far Bokui remains in place in the Golden Colossus.
Asaf blesses me again.
Khalida has leveled up. Let's see. Since we are raiding, a short-term element or improvement would definitely be to increase our raiding income. That would help. However, I would very much like to improve our archers and our cavalrymen. The replenishment rate would also be good to maintain that aggression. Let us improve Soul Reaper. We're looking for the long-term improvements, and Soul Reaper, or just increased replenishment rate up to 20% once we reach level 3 improvement, will just allow us to maintain the momentum of our aggressive stance. So we'll do Soul Reaper.
Serpents, not reptiles!
In one turn we will have the quicksand swamp constructed. In this case I think we will fall back.
Inevitable.
We will fall back to the border of between the Golden Colossus, because then we can recruit our cavalry forces, giving us that extra mobility advantage.
The goddess wills it. Your queen moves.
So next turn we shall move over the border and recruit our cavalry forces.
Answer your queen.
Indeed. We might also have to stay in the vicinity to deal with any public unrest. But so far we are standing at bay. Bokui marches out into the field. Interesting. They seem to seek out in the open rather than defending their capital city at the Sentinels of Zeti. Construct a building. Excellent. Maintain a total of 8 units of the following type: 12 spearmen and or warriors. Well, great. We succeeded. More money for us. Excellent. Next, at the start of your turn, have at least 250 canopic jars. 3,000 extra treasury. Well, that is on the way. Let's see. Bokui is in the astromancy stance, which gives extra line of sight, an ambush defense chance,
Are you parched?
and vanguard deployment for certain units.
High
Okay, so
Queen
Prince Sachom
Kalida.
has improved. I think we want our Tomb Prince to be our main combat escort for High Queen Khalida, so we shall improve his combat capabilities.
Bring me
So now that we have access to skeleton horsemen archers and skeleton horsemen, I think we shall pull back behind the border and recruit.
The goddess wills it.
Keep pulling Bokui away from the north to allow Teclis to take over the capital city.
This is my climate. Begin, Animus.
And I think for this case we will entomb in sand, in case Bokui starts pressing us towards the Dust Gate. So we need to recruit more units. So I think we will reduce our front line, recruit 2 skeleton horsemen, and then take out 1 skeleton warrior and recruit a skeleton horseman archer. Yes.
Are you parched? We begin.
That also delays any possible rebellion. Let us see what the lizard men do. We shall use the prince in this case to go and scout ahead the line of sight.
The goddess wills it.
Move! I command movement!
So they have returned to the Golden Colossus.
Animus!
Okay. What do we do?
Indolent creatures!
What do we do?
High Queen Khalida.
In 2 turns, we will get access to a new army, and we'll be able to recruit many units. But that will take time. But at least then we'll be able to fall upon Bokui relatively quickly.
Focus.
Maybe we continue this standoff play and
The goddess wills it.
continue to raid the Golden Colossus.
Snakes like.
We're still not strong enough, I believe, to attack. If, for example, Bokui comes out into the open, then I think we can attack safely, since we now have at least some mobility advantage and some striking power with our Necropolis Knights and Cavalry, and a relatively solid but not very reliable front line. But we also have a whole lot of skirmishers that will add damage. So, and plus, we need to act relatively soon, since there are problems with public order happening. We might have to, let's see, if we don't tax the province, that will reduce the time. I think we don't have to tax the province now for the time being. That will buy us some more time. In that case, we shall press onwards and raid. That'll be our main source of income.
Move, Volebaras.
Right.
Libaras shall rise again.
Let's take an ambush stance. 14 turns, that's fine. Plus we'll have another army recruiting very soon. Since the second dynasty will be Bokui has decided to march north. That's excellent.
The reptiles do not challenge us.
The winds of pain. The world yields to those who master the winds of magic. Great bolts from the heavens scour souls from bodies, whilst raging torrents of fire rend the very flesh from bone. Magic can rip enemies into a dozen pieces, or leave nothing but an ugly bloodstain where once they stood. The power granted by the cataclysm many eons ago can be harnessed now to bring ruin and destruction upon our enemies. All those who feel the pull of magic feel it grow as the world festers under chaos's ruinous gaze. Their need to ravage grows stronger and stronger by the hour. The winds of pain. Winds of magic starting amount +20 for all armies of all factions. This doesn't necessarily concern us all that much, since we do not have a magic user with us. Okay, next turn we will have the second dynasty researched and a new army available to us. Also next turn we can construct the mausoleum, which will unlock another building slot.
Mine will.
We're not able to attack the Golden Colossus. So what I think we're going to do is let Bokui march further north, and we're going to approach the Golden Colossus.
Queen Khalida.
How much do we need to ambush? 25. So we'll march north
All reptiles bow to
and
Asaph
set an ambush stance.
under the suns.
I keep my own counsel.
And
Strengthen
then
our legions.
keep preparing. So that means next turn, if Bokui marches north to face off against Teclis, which is what we're hoping that happens, then we can just cleanly take the Golden Colossus and start raising an army in the Dust Gate. Excellent. Good.
Fully badass.
Let us proceed to turn 15. No, the Sentinels of Zeti chose to return, and therefore Teclis was able to conquer the Sentinels of Zeti capital.
The scrolls were correct.
This is quite difficult. Research a dynasty technology that permits recruitment of a hero. We'll think about it. Sacrifice to Mathlan. Okay. Ambush foiled. Wisdom of the Second Dynasty researched. Okay. Stratagems. Okay. We need to consider this. So narrow. So what are our options? So the Sentinels of Zeti are not going to retreat from this area. And their garrison has improved. This is going to be tougher. I think what we are going to do to prevent the Lizardmen from getting any stronger, we're going to play cat and mouse and besiege the Lizardmen, force them to attack us, and then we will retreat and then force them out into the open. While that is happening, we will start recruiting a new army under a new Tomb King in the Dust Gate, starting to improve our increase our military, and once we have those reinforcements, this new Tomb King will march up very quickly. Furthermore, a mission was issued to research a dynasty technology that permits recruitment of a hero. Have your liches delve deep into the lost lore. Seek out the dynasties of old and the champions from such eras, so that they may join your cause. And there was one more mission that I think we were given, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was just a mission that we completed. Okay, so they want us to, I think this would work. This will, if I'm thinking of researching Priesthood of Narrow, which gives access to a Lich Priest. So we will recruit an army at the Dust Gate under a new Tomb King, and that will start building up our reinforcements, and then next turn we'll be able to recruit a new priest, which will strengthen this reinforcing army. And at the same time, I think we can construct the mausoleum at the Forgotten Isles.
What?
Because one thing that might happen is that Teclis might start marching south from the Sentinels of Zeti, and he might take over the Golden Colossus for himself, which will be disastrous because then I'd have to declare war on the Order of Lore Masters because we need the Golden Colossus. We need a secure base of operations. That is our interest. So I think this is what we're going to do to proceed further. We're going to recruit a Tomb King. We're going to research Priesthood of Neru. The Tomb King will start recruiting a new reinforcing army. It won't have to be too big. So we'll have a new reinforcement army at the Dust Gate, and we'll play cat and mouse with the lizard men at the Golden Colossus, preventing them, forcing them to attack us out into the field, and preventing them from getting any stronger. And I think we'll also construct the mausoleum, because if we want open graves, it'll take 3 turns. That's too long. Yes. So let us construct the mausoleum. Improves our infrastructure. We'll recruit a Tomb King at the Dust Gate. Let's see. Sechetka, Master of Ceremony. Untainted. A Priest Tomb King. I like it. Harus. Treacherous. Here action success chance +5 and improvements to Tomb Scorpions. And Foctem. He's tough. Armor and melee defense. Well, we're not going to be using Tomb Scorpions anytime soon, and Master of Ceremony for the moment is relatively useless. Though this does help in... sort of this is an Administrator Tomb King. Though I'm thinking Foctem, since we want a support army for High Queen Khalida, we need Foctem to support Khalida, and that means being as aggressive or as tough as our legendary lord. So I think Foctem as a combat lord of sorts. Unfortunately, none of the lords that we were presented were exactly too good, but at least this lord has some extra combat capabilities. Okay, soon we'll be able to recruit the flock of Jaff due to our canopic jars. Probably next turn, which is great. Excellent. Foctem can recruit. Fortunately, I would have very much liked to invoke the great incantation of Tahath, but we do not have the money to enact that. So we shall just recruit skeleton horsemen archers and skeleton spearmen. And High Queen Khalida shall besiege Bokui and prevent them from getting any stronger. We'll give the gleaming pendant to our Necropolis Knights. And so far we will besiege because attacking them, they have 4 Saurus warriors, 2 Saurus spears, 2 shielded Saurus spears, and 2 shielded Saurus warriors, plus supporting skinks and Coldone spear riders. We will not be able to deal with all these Saurus without any reinforcements. And that is what we're waiting for now. Okay, another tense situation. And for now we will research the Priesthood of Neru to recruit a Lich Priest who will join Foctem's army. Okay, at this point I think I'd like to end the episode at this, shall we say, cliffhanger. There's been a lot of back and forth in this episode. Not many battles fought yet, but I think a confrontation with the Sentinels of Zeti is inevitable. So stay tuned for that in the upcoming episodes. For the time being, we're trying to consolidate our position in the Copper Desert. I thank you all for joining for this episode of Strategy and Stratagems. I hope everyone has a great day, and see you next time in the next episode. Thank you.